Welcome to the MWA podcast. I'm Kyle, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jeff. Both Sean and Brian have work assignments today, so we'll soldier on without them, but we're very, very excited to welcome as our guest, David Wright. David is an outstanding chairmaker and instructor working out of his shop in Western Maine. He's been making traditional Windsor chairs since 1987. David's chairs are in many private collections and have been shown in gallery and exhibitions throughout the U.S. He has also taught Windsor chairmaking for the past 35 years. So welcome to the show, David.
Thank you.
Well, it's great to have
you guys.
Yeah, it's great to have you on the show. And I think we were talking earlier that you taught Greg Pennington his first Windsor chair class, or taught him how to make Windsor chairs, should I say?
Well, yeah. He was a part of a big class when I teach up at the Mark Adams School of Woodworking. It seemed like I always have 12 to 16 students, and he was part of that. That year, I taught there. Probably around 1999, somewhere in there. It's been a while, and this is back when Greg was still working selling Mack trucks and Peterbilts and stuff like that. So, and he shortly went out on his own after that. So, he was. And we got to know each other fairly well. After those years, just buying wood from him and visiting and so forth, just seeing the shop go up, having it timber framed and constructed there in his yard, and had a raising. So I've seen Greg come up over the years. Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. Now you were living in Tennessee area back then? Kentucky?
I was in Berea, Kentucky.
Okay.
Had been there for 23 years, and I was still there up until about 2004. And then I was asked to head up a program at it's now a defunct school, but the Kentucky School of Craft, which was in far eastern Kentucky, a little town near Hazard, Kentucky. And that's what I did for about 4 years, 4 to 5 years. I had a program there, and it wasn't chair making per se. It was all aspects of woodworking. And and chair making was part of it. I developed a curriculum and taught all the classes. I was the only one in that department. So, like I said, it went to funk from a lack of students for one thing. It was kind of isolated, but area and so forth. Good idea. Good facilities. They had a good budget, but just couldn't sustain itself. So from there, I moved to Tennessee, just over the border a bit, and was working out of that area for some years. So
Nice.
And now I'm in Maine. I moved up here 7 years ago.
Oh, wow.
And,
Okay. Yeah.
Just up and moved up, and I wanted to be up in this area. A lot of my customers had grown to the point where they were up in this area. This is where they were from, and contacted me. So I had one customer in particular from New Hampshire, and he was always trying to get me up here. He said, "Oh, you need to be up here. You need to be up here."
Well, before we continue on with David, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Sutherland Wells knows that exceptional craftsmanship deserves an exceptional finish. That's why they handcraft their full line of low and VOC exempt finishes and stains using the highest quality, cold-pressed, sustainably grown tung oil. Their unique polymerization process delivers the deep penetrating, grain-enhancing, non-yellowing protection of tung oil, while reducing the drying time, allowing the finish to build a beautiful, durable film. Sutherland Wells, the timeless look of traditional oil made for the modern woodworker, and use code MWA25, that's the numbers 25, for 10% off your first order.
And we'd like to thank Sutherland Wells for their sponsorship of this episode. And with that, who do we have to thank this week, Jeff?
So our Patreon shout out, a big thanks to as always, to our Patreon supporters. Today, we're giving a big shout out to Joe Brumley. If you'd like to support the MWA podcast, go to www.patreon.com, MWA podcast.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Joe. And with that, what's in the shop? So what are you working on there, Jeff?
So I'm just getting ready for the Dutch tool chest. So that starts actually this Friday coming up. Just been milling a lot of cherry. So
Yeah.
we got all the sides, middle shelves. Everything's good to go. No glue ups. Super happy about that.
I know. I can't believe that. You sent me a picture of that cherry you were doing.
Yeah.
And man, that's some nice cherry.
Yeah, I lucked out, and a lot of it's curly, so I'm really happy. I'm excited for the students. I got all the hardware came in the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Lee Valley for I guess about 6 or 8 months they were just kind of drive the unequal straps, the straps that Megan has for the Dutch tool chest.
Yeah.
So those are really nice in the handle. So I had like enough for 3 people, but you can't go to class and not have the exact same for everybody.
Right.
So I had some backup straps and everything else I purchased a while ago. And then Lee Valley, I checked their website last week, as a matter of fact, and they ended up having everything was back in stock like normal. So I was like,
so did you clean them out though?
I tried to. So I got enough for this class and another class.
Okay.
So enough for 2 classes. Yeah.
Cool.
But just been working on that, and then just rounding down some maple plank.
Nice. Well, for me, I've just been building jigs. I got a couple of big orders I'm putting together, but that's been about it. I guess the big news is I got my 3D printer in yesterday, but unfortunately, I got a bunch of stuff to do. I had a bunch of stuff to do today, tomorrow, Friday. So hopefully this weekend I'll be able to actually unpack it. And
that's pretty exciting.
We'll see how it goes.
Those 3D printers, it's really the. I know a lot of guys that are in the shop that making like little jig parts and stuff. And then, matter of fact, even when I was took that class in Las Vegas with Christian Bouchard, he made me a couple 3D printed couple of little jigs, for setup blocks and everything else. And I was just like, wow, this is really it's very cool. You know, something I probably, I guess after seeing what he was doing with it, I wouldn't ever consider that, but I was like, man, that it's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. I like it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I bought it, is just to, help me do some stuff around the shop, but mainly for doing some prototyping, because I have some ideas in my head, but it's kind of, I need something to, help me visualize this in 3D space and see if it's something that, I want to get made or something like that. But
right.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So we'll see. As that comes along, if these things look like they'll work, I'll put some announcements out here about what I'm working on, but I have some ideas. But with that, David, what are you working on in your shop?
Well, I got some counter stool to do to finish up on an order, and hope to get that done this week by the end of the week. Just finished up one order of 3 for a couple of fan backs. 3 fan backs in cherry. You've been mentioning a lot of cherry, and with that, they wanted some figured wood. They saw some figured wood that I had in red oak. So last spring, I bought a log, not knowing it was highly figured, and about all I can do is turn it. And so that's why I've got that stocked away for. So with that, with some nice cherry, and it's got some nice tight curl in the red oak. And so I even, the legs are turned out of it, the back post, the spindles, and no, I didn't do the spindles. There's no way. The stuff is so tight, you can't hardly work it. You can turn it, but that's about it. And then after that, I've got some couple of reproduction chairs to do from a couple comb-back chairs, about 1790, back in that era there, that they need a couple more, and of course, you can't find a couple more out on the market. So yeah, I do a little bit of that, not a whole lot, but there's I'm kind of known to be the man in this area to come to. And we have a lot of federal style houses here, a lot of renovation. Well, I shouldn't say a lot, but there is a fair amount going on. Big houses, federal style, and going in for complete renovation from the sills up. These are projects are into a couple of years to do, and then I work with a contractor in particular. I do all his turning for him, from rosettes and for and molding and that to all the drawer pulls and so forth. So that's one aspect I keep busy doing, is doing some custom finishing and turning for him and his projects. So yeah, it's and then before I know it, May will be around. I'll be in Mark Adams teaching class, building a sack back chair in a Philadelphia style. I think the second week of May, around the 10th or so. So that'll be here before I know it. So I got to get thinking about getting ready for that. And yeah.
Okay,
How many students will you have in that class?
Mark's usually, up to 15. I don't know if I'll have that many.
Wow.
I'd be happy with about half of that.
I tell you,
yeah,
once you get over 8 students in a chair class, that's an astronomical number. It's like 15 to me is just like, I think I would be over in a corner, like just just rocking back and forth. 15 students. That is a tremendous amount of students.
Yeah.
Oh, I hear you. I think one year I had 18. He was sending some, part ways into the class, people, wanted to take it. So, it's a 6-day class, and I want a smaller class, go through the whole process. Take your time. I never get a chance to go into the finishing, and that it kind of bugs me because that's a big part of it. And especially, a painted surface, the way I do most of my chairs, using milk paints and that. But that's a whole important aspect of the chair building is the finishing.
Yeah,
so
that could be a week class in itself, just in the finishing.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, David. Did you happen to see that Lost Art Press book, that Making Your Own Milk Paint?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really interested in doing that. Trying it out. At least I got to try it out. It's just itching at me.
Yeah, I got a copy of the book, and I'm real interested in it too.
I like to try it out too. Just to say, we even make our paints. We do it all here.
That's right.
Right. Just mix our own glues. Why not just do our own paints as well? But yeah, that's interesting. And just simple materials here in the kitchen, basically. And I think I'll give that a shot. It's one of those things on my radar to try out. It's just something fun to do, and keep it fresh. So
I always wanted to do a chair also, maybe a stool or something. And I know Alan Lacer very well. He does a lot of marbling. I've never done the marble. I always wanted to do that marbling he does. Back in the day, going back to the 80s and that, the big thing was, the crackle finish. And most of it, just didn't look right. But there's a few guys, they had it down. They could, some of those chairs could have passed, to an untrained eye for period chairs, the chairs from 1790, 1780. It was some very good work. So how they did that, I tried. I never could get it. And not that it was all that important really, but I just, like to have known how to do that. And, you just don't see it anymore, but I still think about it from time to time, what that would require. They had a guarded secret, I'm sure, because you couldn't just find it anywhere. And they weren't letting go of it. So, the crackle finishes that I've seen in white have that's a really great color that I think always looks good in crackle finish. When I've seen other colors, I'm like, I don't know if I like it. But when I've seen it in white, I do like that.
With a darker color underneath, a red or a blue, something of that nature, even a yellow. The different colors. It's just getting that tight crackle, that tight,
Right.
which would be natural. The finish, the varnish is that just lifting over the years and cracking and yeah, that's hard to duplicate. And yeah, there was products out on the market you could do, but it was just so it wasn't even real the way it
Yeah.
looked. So,
Yeah, my
so
my family has an old piano stool. It's
mhm,
not a bench,
mhm,
it's a stool, but it's made for pianos. You can
yeah,
raise it up and down. It's got this big Acme thread in it and all this kind of stuff.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, the finish on that is all crackled, from the
yeah,
original,
yeah.
and it is just gorgeous. But yeah, it's like,
Mhm.
how do you recreate that? You
Yeah,
need some
that's the
old
scene. Yeah,
varnish and shellac or something, and wait,
Yeah.
100
yeah,
years.
yeah, yeah. 100 years of old lacquer, yeah,
Yeah.
varnishes and so forth,
Mhm.
and you can get it. Yeah, so
Yeah, because I think the
yeah.
school is like from either the late 1800s or early 1900s, somewhere in the time
Hmm.
frame. So yeah,
Yeah, they were using a lot of varnish over things.
yeah,
Yeah. Hmm.
but yeah, it's pretty interesting. Well, before we go too much further, David, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, where you grew up, and how you got into chair making?
Okay. Well, I grew up in, I was reared in Cincinnati, Ohio, and and lived there up until I was 18. But just prior to that, just as I was entering high school, I got introduced to not so much chair making, but just woodworking, but particularly wood turning. And w- in my neighborhood, I lived on the west side of town, and anybody from Cincinnati knows what that means. You basically are right down the middle. You're from the east side or the west side, and I was a west
Okay.
sider, and old neighborhood, and not far from where my house was a complex of buildings, and it was some old German brothers. There was about three or four of them that'd been there since the turn of the century. Seemed like, in all reality, I think their fathers started it, but it was a turnery. They built stairs. They did dowels as well. They had a place where they made wooden dowels. And what else? It is this, I think they did some pattern making. They were a source for pattern making, especially turnings. They had some big lathes in there, pattern maker lathes. Anyway, when I was around 15, 16, I guess, I worked there for about 2 years, starting about that time, 1971, I believe, is when I was about that age. And just hanging around. And pretty soon, they were asking if I wanted to work there for the summer. And so I did various things and finishing it at. I think I brought up the fact that I had taken an industrial arts class, and I could turn. I've been on the lathe, and how I liked it. Next thing you know, they had me on a small little Oliver lathe, little dinky thing about just about 4 foot long, but it was old. And I remember that when it was run for hours, that the head on that thing would get super hot. And it's just inside that head was all electrical parts, and you could hear them, change speed. You could hear them changing in there, and all kinds of stuff like that. But anyway, they had me on there, and I was just turning simple little things. And, some things they had that they would sell. They did a lot of treeing type of things. I was turning honey dippers of all things, and they gave me a box and some wood and said, "Here, fill it." And I did that, and really enjoyed it. And one of the old guys there, I say old, he probably wasn't that old. He'd been there a while. He was a good, he was one of their top turners. He got with me one day, and he said, you need to learn how to turn some chair parts. We got a lot of chair parts coming up, balusters and so forth. And here's some simpler ones. And he showed me how to not scrape. He said, you scrape everything. And he said, you scratch everything. And he showed me how to use a skew chisel. And as I think back on it, that's all he ever used was a skew chisel. He did everything with a skew chisel. He had big ones. He had smaller ones. He cut coves with them. excuse me. And he was, he just turned all day, had been doing it for years. He did all the balusters and complicated turnings in that regard. So I got my first taste of learning how to use a skew, and not so much, finishing with sandpaper and so forth. But I had that opportunity. And like I said, I did that through my high school years, later high school years, until I graduated. And when I was 18, right as I turned 18, there's a lot of people did that during that time. They hit the road and started traveling around. I was part of that. I just wanted to do that. I wanted to go out west and experience that. So, but anyway, roughly 2 years of doing various turnings and so forth in that shop, and that was kind of. Well, it really did. Not kind of, but it set things in motion. I thought, working in wood would be something to consider, and so I returned to that some years later.
So when you're turnings now, do you use gouges and stuff like that, or are you all skew?
No, usually I just have the two things. I use a spindle gouge and a skew for everything. No, I never got the hang of cutting coves and things like that with just a skew.
Right.
Yeah. There's and actually I'll use a gouge for a lot of skew work too. Cutting beads and that, I find it more to my liking sometimes. Most of the time, just cutting them with a gouge. It's a bit safer. I see some of these guys on Instagram that they're masters with the skew and what they can do. It's similar to what I saw out of this guy. They can just lay a skew down and it just very quickly turn all the various parts, the beads and coves and so forth, half beads, and just takes a very sharp tool, and that's the secret. Just a nice sharp tool.
Right. I was just going to ask you. So what led you to chair making? How'd you get introduced to making Windsor chairs?
Well, this all comes about later. I went to college. I went to Berea College, and with the express interest, they had a good woods program, furniture program at that time. We're talking in the early '80s, and I just went through all the woodworking I could, and then and honestly, they didn't have enough for me. I transferred it halfway through, went to Eastern Kentucky. They had a more extensive program up there, Eastern Kentucky University, just up the road in Richmond, and I finished off up there. My main emphasis was to learn all I could about wood, wood tech, how a kiln runs, how to dry wood, the structure of wood, all the machine classes that I could take. I did. And then, as I was graduating, as I was getting through with everything, it was like, okay, what do I do now? And I started thinking and poking around down in Berea again, and just talking to some of the fellows down there who established woodworkers, such as Kelly Mailer and O'Brien Boggs was getting had just gotten started, and others, and the town was just full of woodworkers in a way. Buzio Sonic, the wood turner, bowl turner, was still living there and producing, and he was actually my first professor or teacher at Berea. I took my first class with him.
Wow.
And his last year of actually teaching before he retired. And that was a treat. Of course, you don't, at the time, you just don't recognize what you're around, until after the fact. But and I have a lot of stories on that. Me and him conversing and everything about things, but getting into chair making, it was around this time. I was kind of steered with just, with these guys were talking and saying, to make it go with this, you're going to have to really find a niche. You're going to have to be known for a particular product. Kelly Mailer with Shaker Furniture. Others did, Shaker chairs. Kelly didn't do a lot of chairs, but others did chairs. And then Shaker boxes. And Brian was doing his Appalachian chairs. And then there's guys who made Dulcimers and then Kentucky style furniture. Everybody had a certain area they were working in and well known for. And I remember somebody saying, you got to consider Windsor chairs. And I really thought it through, and I thought, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I understand. I was thinking, I'll get in here and do it all, but it was a wise advice I was given, very sound, wise advice, and so I did. I just I tackled it, and it really wasn't any material going at that time. I did come across in the library a book by Mike Dunbar, but it's not the one everybody thinks. This was a book that it was written in the mid '70s, and I've never seen it since. And I don't know. It was just there, and it wasn't a how-to book so much. He was just talking about Windsor chairs and the history of it and how it was constructed and everything. He didn't show you how to make one, but he talked about all the aspects of it, and I read it, and so that was okay. I got that, and but anyway, I just kind of got some help and cobbled one together. to say the least. It was sittable. It held up. I certainly didn't sell it. I had it forever in my own house, and so it was outside a lot. It just got abused in a lot of ways, but it held together, and that was important. But it was. I tackled some more chairs during this time.
Yeah, because I want to say during that time there was probably there was like Sawyer was making Windsors maybe around that time, and probably Curtis was just getting started.
Yep.
Yep.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because at that time, I just made a few, and Brian Boggs, he got an idea. He said, I'm gonna bring Dave Sawyer down. Mm-hmm. and bring Curtis up, and he invited all kinds of people in the area. Did all kinds of different kind of woodworking finishers. Yep. And all kinds of things. We made a weekend of it. It was a cold February weekend, and we met in a good sized shop. There was probably 30 or 40 of us running around. Dave Sawyer came down. I got to meet him, Curtis, for the first time, and so we built a chair. It was kind of a group effort, and it was kind of emphasizing that I was wanting to get into that, go that route, and so I got a little special attention maybe. Dave Sawyer, sometime after that, he gave me he sent in the mail. He sent me some patterns down. And some of his drawings that he had. And
I mean, he's gotten so many people started in Windsor's around that time. He seemed to be very giving of his information and wanted to hold anything back. You want to make a Windsor? Here's some plans. Here's
Yeah. They weren't. Some of them weren't even, they didn't have any measurements or anything, but they were scaled, and you could go from there. But Curtis too, he brought me shortly after that. He said, "Yeah, come on down for a week, and I got some chairs." And so we didn't build a chair together necessarily. He had a chair he was finishing up. This is back when he was building his house. Yep. He was kind of busy, and it was the spring of the year. Things were, trying to do a lot of things. And, he didn't even have a shop. He was just working out what basement he had in his new house. So his shop hadn't even been built yet. But just being there for about 4 days, getting exposed to that, and listening to him and seeing how he works and seeing some of his chairs. So that was good. So,
that's amazing. I have one question, and I don't know if you can help me or not, but it seems like we all agreed, the chairmakers at one time agreed that when you're reaming leg holes, that those were going to be at a 6-degree angle.
Right.
Do you know where that came from?
I don't know. Because
I know Dunbar used 11-degree angle, but he seems to be the only one that was doing that. Everybody else was at 6 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah. I use a steeper angle too. It's about a 10, maybe a 9 or 10.
Really? Okay.
I just read something recently on that, and there's no consensus. They were all done that way. Reamed, but at different angles, and there was no set angle, but a 6-degree angle. The argument is it can split a seat. Well, that's not. If you pound away at it, it's going to split a seat. I'm gonna get some water and talking. Not used to talking so much.
Sure.
But I have a steeper angle. I like with that 6 degrees, it seems like going through 2-inch material, you get a little bit bigger hole coming up through the seat, a little wider. And the other one, I'm right at 5/8 of an inch when I come through. I'm still at an inch at the base of the chair, the seat.
Okay. Gotcha.
Yeah,
once I come up.
That's fairly close. That's about the same measurement as a 6-degree.
Yeah, I have a reamer that was made 30 years ago. A guy by the name of Fred Emhoff was making reamers. He was an old machinist, and his is probably a good 6-degree. And I've actually reamed with that, and it's, I get a different angle on that hole, and so I haven't seen anything a problem either way.
No.
So
no, I haven't either, but it's just been one of those things. It seemed like a lot of somehow a lot of people agreed that 6 degrees was it. It wasn't 7, it wasn't that. But like I said, I know there are some other angles out there. So it's just, I've even heard of like a 12, 13 angle. Yeah, I think Lee Valley makes a reamer that's like, I forgot what I want to say, it's like 11.6 degrees or something like that included angle.
Yeah.
Something like that, yeah.
But
close to 12 degrees.
The 6 degrees actually comes from Jenny Alexander. I think she's the one that kind of.
Oh, really? Okay.
I believe so. I've heard Curtis do a talk on that before. I got that a reamer from Jenny. So
yeah.
Anyway.
You can go on some of the forums, and it's an ongoing subject matter. And, and just recently, 6 degrees, you're going to split the seat. Well, no, not unless you pound on it. I can't see it really splitting. I understand that, but makes your holes, make them match. Don't have them, trying to make them fit because they're loose at the top or something. So that may be part of what the problem is with splitting the seat out. But you can split a seat out with anything. Any angle. So
I think it's like a rite of initiation is to make a chair and the seat split on you. Okay, I got to fix this now.
Well, I don't get too involved with what's those kinds of things. Or I don't. I've got ways of doing things that I've always done, and it makes it hard to teach because I've got a muscle memory, and I can just throw the brace and the bit up there and go at it. And I've done it thousands of times. And then somebody who's never done it looks at me, what's that all mean? And I got to stop and go, what does all that mean? How do you explain this one? I got to stop and realize what I'm doing sometimes. Especially ream a arm the post hole from underneath.
Right.
You know, I just throw it on the bench. I know what it is, and you know, it turns out pretty close. And if I have to adjust it, I can change my angle a little bit and you know, make it fit right in there. But that's hard to teach. That's hard to do the first time. I remember that was like confusing as all get out. How do you go about that? And there's probably better ways of doing it. And but that's the way I'm used to that process. It's like leveling legs. I see all kinds of ways to do things, and right off the bat, what I did, I got a piece of scrap wood. I drilled various depth holes in a piece of wood, anywhere from an 1/8 inch down to maybe 1/4 inch. I'll put 3 legs in there and level it up that way. And the last one I'll hang over the edge of the bench and flush cut it right there. And that's just the way I do it. And it's quick. It's over with in a matter of 2 or 3 minutes. And you can level your chair up if you have to that way too. Take a little bit more off one side. And I don't know if anybody else does that. To me, it just seems, well, I thought everybody did it that way, but now,
Yeah, well, it's one of those things. Yeah. Once you've done it, 10, 20, 30 times, then it's just like,
Yeah.
hey, this is the way I do it. And your way may be better, but I've been doing it this way and I know my way's faster, those kind of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it goes back to my shop. I'll tell you, people are amazed where my shop is now. My shop is right off through a door from my kitchen, and I got a room in there, and it's no more than 200 square feet. I've always had shops like that. It seems like, and I've had bigger shops, but I don't know. I can work in a little shop like that. So my tool chest is very limited. I got a scorp. I got a couple of spoke shaves, about 4 of them for various tasks. I got a brace and a bit. I use a brace, auger bits. I got the reamer, and outside of that, I don't know. There's not much more. A Travisher.
And of course, I assume you got a lathe in there.
Oh yeah, lathes. I got a bandsaw, a small bandsaw, and I got a drill press, and that's it. And it's a little crowded, but it works. And it just just the way I like working like that. I like I like working tight like that. And I split all my wood outside. In the summer, I'll go out with a shave horse and get under a tree and do my shaving out there. In the winter, it's a little not so much outside. Well, not at all, really, but not this time of year. But and I've got my bench in there too, of course. And my first shop was that way when I was in Berea. I had an old building outside, and it was just sitting there. It was dilapidated, and I thought, wait a minute, I think I can do something with this. And so I did, and I spent many years in there working out of that shop right in the backyard. And I always, that was one aspect of chair making. It really appealed to me was the whole hand tool thing. Down deep, that's where my desires lie. It is hand tool work, quiet work, and back when my children were just born and so forth, I wanted to be at home. I wanted them to be out in the shop watching me and knowing where I was. And so it was interesting. And that's exactly what happened. They would be in the shop. They'd be around the shop. They'd be playing with blocks of wood, just, sitting on a shave horse when I wasn't using it, looking at me. And it was a strange thing. At night we would read the Bearstein Bear book to them, and of course, if you know the story, the bear, the Papa Bear, he works at home, he's cutting wood, and they got this concept that, hey, everybody does this, don't they? everybody's dad works at home working wood. They had that's all they saw, and it was kind of cute and good at the same time, and so.
That's cool. That is very nice. Those are great memories. Great memories.
They are. Yeah. There's memories that I have for sure. of that. You know, you only get that short window in your life,
Right.
raising your kids, and I got some of that. But no, we did, you know, just as I do now. We raise as much food as we can in the backyard. My wife now, she cans like crazy. We put food up. I make soups and stuff like that. You know, stuff out of the garden, the tomatoes and so forth, and the beans, and you know, yeah, it can be good.
Yeah.
A good lifestyle, you know, and making chairs just kind of goes hand in hand. You know, I go to a log yard. It's about 3 or 4 miles up the road. And there's logs, you know, all over the place, and they work with me up there. They know what I'm looking for now. The first time I went in there, they kind of looked at me, you know, what's this all about? But they understood, and now, you know, I'll get a call, you know, hey, I got a nice red oak up here, or an ash, or beech, or something like that. Not a beech, but a birch, and you know, they kind of look out for me in that respect, and just being up the road, yeah, good source for the logs that I need, and so
Oh, that's
yeah,
that's nice. That's nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
'Cause- yeah. Yeah. I don't have any logs near me here in Texas, unless you want southern yellow pine. I got plenty of that.
Yeah, yeah. Which, yeah, sometimes I do. I'd like to get some good yellow pine. They make, you know, good benches and that. I've made
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
yellow pine benches. But, oh yeah, when I was in the Appalachian forest there, I mean, it was, you know, gosh, it was great. The white oak but yeah, it was limited too. I had some ash there, and I always wanted to use ash. And I attempted 2 logs, and I just couldn't bend it. It was so brash, and it just confounded me. What is going on here? And I was told by I don't know who. Well, no, your ash, your bending ash is, you know, in the mountains above 3,000 feet. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that. And not here. I just cut an ash tree in my backyard. It was overhanging the house, and last year, and it was all usable wood, and bent great. And all the ash I've gotten up here has been the same way. Just, you know, I've never really used ash until I got up here, and
Yeah.
was able to
Interesting.
use what's it. Yeah, and as I was saying earlier, that the red oak up here is extraordinary.
Wow. That's nice.
I like. Oh, it is. Yeah, I was really worried about it. I thought, I don't know how this is going to work. I had, you know, touch and go with red oak,
Mhm.
but this is true northern red oak up here. I think I got into maybe some more southern oak down through there.
Yeah. Yeah. Because
yeah.
we have some of that southern red oak, and it's kind of hit or miss
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, it can be brash, even though it
Yeah.
looks good. It can be brash, and but I do miss the white oaks. But you know, I've got birch up here, nice hardwood, good for good for turning and everything. And of course, maple galore, nice maple, and you know, white pine.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're in
Yeah.
the land of white pine. That's for sure.
Yeah. Most of it is just normal pine, but there's some good sources up here for, you know, nice, you know, sugar pine, or as I call it. It just
Yeah.
different kind of wood altogether.
Yeah.
It's probably more of a spruce than anything, and
Yeah. I got.
so
Yeah, I got a buddy of mine, Sean Murphy, you may know,
mhm.
Windsor Chairmaker. Yeah, he gets a bunch of white pine, and he gets it from somewhere in Maine. He hadn't ever told me where in Maine, but I know you
Yeah.
got to take a ferry to get to it.
No kidding, a ferry. Okay, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly where I'd be, but yeah, yeah, up the coast somewhere. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But anyway, yeah. I think he just got just built a house up there in Maine somewhere on the coast, I believe.
Yeah. He's got family property up here or something, as I remember him talking about or reading about. Yeah,
Yeah.
but yeah,
But
yeah. I'm just rambling on here. So
no,
yeah,
that's what we do here. So
yeah.
tell me, is there a favorite chair that you like to build, or or teach?
I love rockers.
Okay.
Cone back rockers in particular, just because it's a challenge. It took me a good many years to get that radius on those runners just right, and but there, a rocker, it's you use it, you interact with it more than just a chair, and people love rockers. They really do. So I like making rockers, and I like cone backs. There's just the elegance of it. Nice, high back with deep carved ears and the knuckle arm and everything. And you play around with the legs. You can do a Rhode Island leg. You can do a Philadelphia leg, regular New England leg. It's a nice chair in that regard. And the continuous arm, that was always kind of like my North Star. Once you got that one down,
Yeah.
you've done. Yeah, and it was a hard chair to make. That bend gave me troubles initially, just getting that thing the bend without breaking there in that thin part. And but it came down to just good wood. Initially, it just getting the best woods.
Yeah. I think I
fast-growing
read.
wood.
Yeah, I think I read something like I think it was Peter Galbert that said, "Hey, the thickness right there at that second bend for the arm
Mhm.
has got to be right at something." He goes, "If it's just a snadge too big or too small, it's either not going to bend or it's going to break."
Yeah, it can, and
Yeah.
and it's worse now. It's some of the fibers rise up. And
Right.
that gets to me. I hate that, but you can get them back down.
Mhm.
If you have to glue them back down, it's not lost. But even that I don't like. Just when you're bending that. A beginner, or you're not realizing you got a lot of time there. That thing's good and hot. It's going to stay hot for a while, long enough to get it bent, and takes your time there. You're not really going to get a strap there necessarily.
Right.
I think, but I just use the palm of my hand and just slowly keep it down on there, and just bring it on down. Don't jerk it or anything like that. And it's been and again, sometimes it just doesn't always work out that way, but most of the time it does. But
Yeah.
it's a hard bend. I would track them up all over the place, and thought, I don't know if I'm ever going to get this chair. It took 4 or 5 tries to get that chair bent, to get that arm bent, and finish out the chair.
Yeah.
But it's a nice looking chair too. But
Yeah. Well, one of the chairs that in perusing your Instagram is one that I think is always a cool chair. It's the one where you sit side by side, but front to front. It's got that. Let's see. Well, let me pull up there.
the cording, they call them a cording.
Yeah,
section.
cording chair. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are always interesting. I see you made one continuous, so I assume that you bent one half and then steamed the other half and then bent it.
It's actually 2, and it's
scarf joint?
Scarf jointed together.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. That chair. Yeah, they're interesting. I always wanted to do one, but it has a limited saleability.
Yeah, that's what I've heard. I've heard the exact same thing. Chairmakers think they're cool as hell.
Yeah. But where do you put it and all that?
Yeah.
You got to have some room. It's got to be an accent piece. It just got to be a conversational piece in a lot of ways. It's useful too, but it's you're not going to put it up against a wall somewhere. That doesn't work. Most of the people they have a place for it. They just want it, and it's a fun build, especially that center stretcher. It's a long. I've never found a way to really make the put a leg there in the center. So I just make for a long center stretcher. That's some whipping going on there, unless you have a good steady rest. But that particular chair, I'm looking at it in my mind. That's was butternut seat, and I haven't talked about that. Butternut is absolutely fantastic wood to work with in the carve, and I can still get it up here. But along with white oak, it makes just a stunning chair. Just absolutely stunning. And another wood, down there in the south, you may have come across pecan hickory.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah, we
and
got a lot of pecan around here for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I thought I was buying a hickory the first time I ever came across it, and the guy said, well, this is a pecan hickory. No, I didn't. I didn't even know a pecan was a hickory. And at the
Yeah,
time,
I've never made a chair out of it, but I've heard it can be good.
it's nice,
Mhm.
brown, tan,
Mhm.
kind of grayish color. It bends great. Oh my goodness. At least the one I had.
Yeah.
It was just a little log, wasn't anything great, big or anything, about 15 inch, and it bent good. It's like the time somebody gave me a slippery elm, and that probably the best bending wood I ever saw. It bent. Oh, just great. And it's a nice wood too. It's got that same tone, that gray, more of a gray, slightly brownish tones to it. And it looks good. And it actually, within a lock and grain, it split out fairly well, but it worked good. So I didn't have any problems with that. Of course, it was green, but that always helps. But I didn't have enough to do more than just some spindles and a bend with it. I don't even think I got a whole log. I think I got like a half a log or something. But
Yeah.
so
I'll have to give that a shot. Yeah, there's not a lot of pecan in my area of Texas, but just a little bit north of me there is. And I need to, and I know this one lumber mill up there, and I talked to him one time about pecan. Like I said, I've never used it, but I need to probably talk to him about it and go, can you save me back some before you put it in the kiln? I'd like some at least air dried or green stuff if possible. Yeah.
Oh yeah. It's worth a try.
Yeah.
I've carved catalpa before.
Oh, really? Wow.
It's catalpa. I got a catalpa tree out of somebody's backyard.
Yeah.
And it carved. It looks good. Carved. Nice figure. Wild figure. I've done buckeye. Carved Coruscant white oak. And all kinds of different things. Wood wise, if I think back, I think he even did one in mahogany once, mahogany seat, and cypress.
I do. I've done one in cypress once, and only once. That stuff's just so stringy. It's you gotta have sharp tools to.
I was surprised.
And if you look at it crosswise, it did.
It's not what I thought it would be. But I know exactly what you're talking about. Very tough wood. It reminded me of the time I did alder. I did some alder seats, and thought, it looks good. It'd be good. That stuff. It's brittle and hard, and didn't finish out all that great. So another experiment that I was trying out. So
Hey, you don't know unless you experiment. Well,
you aren't kidding.
Yeah. Well, so tell me, what led you to become an instructor teaching chairs?
Well, I certainly wasn't looking to do that. People just start calling. Clubs and that, woodworking clubs. They were, I don't know how big they are now, but back in the day, it seemed like every little town had a woodworking club or a turning club. Just a group of guys, and sometimes there were like 60 of them there. I get a call, they invite me up. I'd be at a fair and they're like, hey, would you consider doing, coming up to our club? And I'll do anything like that. Yeah. And so I'd go far and wide. I'd go to Atlanta, up to Indiana, Chicago, New York, Rochester Furniture Society. They had me come up one time. Several times actually, but I remember my first time up in Rochester, New York. It was in the spring, and it got into a blizzard off the lake up there. I like never got there, and then they had like 100 guys there. They put on a big Friday night to do, meet everybody and all that, and went over to Rochester, the school there, the Institute of Technology, and they had a big building there, and I was up on a stage and going at it, and it was great. And so I've done that, and little clubs, and then out of that, you get a call, and a guy would, hey, you do one-on-one? Yeah, I'll do one-on-one down in my shop. We can fit in there, and so lo and behold, I was just kind of thrust out into it. It's just kind of almost became the other half of what I did. You'd be gone a lot, and then it kept increasing. And I remember Mark Adams called me one day, and hey, would you like to come up here next summer? I'm like, well, I'll consider giving you a call. Matter of fact. And because Brian had been there, and some other guys I
Right.
know, Kelly Miller started going up there, and from that, Mark said, yeah, would you want to get on the woodworking circuit? As the woodworking shows that you see in various cities, and I did that for about 2 or 3 years, traveled around the country. And they had me area, kind of roped off, and I'd be in there making chairs. I had road tools. They kept, they just, at the end of the show, they would come and get them, and they'd show up at the next town, I'd be at. And so did that about, oh gosh, 15 times a year, mainly in the wintertime. And I went all over the country doing that, and paid good. And yeah, and you just, it just kind of came about. I really never thought doing something like that, especially early on. I thought, I'm not that good to, be teaching anybody, but yeah,
Well,
it kind of makes you good, if you, get
yeah,
out
that's
there
what
and
I've
do it.
heard from people that teach. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I don't think I'm qualified to teach. And then after they teach a couple of classes, they go, it's made me a better woodworker, teaching people.
Yeah, it does. And yeah, so yeah, I don't do it anywhere near that now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's so many schools out there, and so many more people doing it,
Right.
and so on. So there's it seems like everybody's teaching. A lot more people are doing shares. From
Yeah.
all that teaching.
Yeah. Now,
Uh,
yeah, we tend to focus a lot on chair making, but yeah, it seems like it's exploded in the last 10 years or so, as far as people making chairs, people teaching chairs. Yeah, it's been great, actually. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Well, 20 years ago or so, I was really concerned. I thought, it's not going to be long. Nobody's going to be doing this stuff. I can't see younger people come up and doing this.
Mhm.
Boy, was I ever wrong. That's who's doing it.
Exactly.
I missed that one, and thankfully, because it's strong now as it's ever been.
Yeah.
And a lot of there's all kinds of chairs being made. Of course, you got your Welsh and English chairs and so forth that people are into, which I like a lot.
Yep.
I haven't done one, but I'm looking at them thinking, I'd like to try that. So I may,
Yeah. I've made one, and yeah, there's a couple other ones I want to make too. So yeah, they're cool. They're handsome chairs. They're heavy because they're all made of oak, but
yeah, they're stout, that's for sure.
Yeah,
But
they-
there's a appeal there that
Yeah.
kind of, they're stout, but they're not like bulky or anything. They got a good heft to them. I like that about them, but yet they
Yeah.
look like they walk around too. There's a kind of light in some ways, but yeah,
Mhm.
I know what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah.
but it's just,
Yeah. That's
similar
what,
techniques, but but
well,
using
it
the same
is.
tools and all.
Yeah. Now, when you're teaching classes, is there a favorite technique you like to teach? Or
Well, that's these are all good questions. It brings back a lot of memories. That's the technique. Yeah, it's I think the bending because there's just that amazement there.
right.
And when we start out, as you do any chair, you start out with the bends and the spindles and getting all that dry. And, you're on a shaving horse for a day or two, just doing all this. And when my first big chair class like that, I mean, I came up Jeff and Kyle. I came up with a truckload of logs and I threw them down and we split logs. And I still hear about that. Those guys were just like their eyes were popping out. They couldn't believe what they were doing. I thought, hey, you're paying good money. You're going to get the full effect here. So yeah. But I kind of streamlined that a little bit. I at least split them out somewhat and get them ready in that regard, so they're not doing so much grunt work. But those first classes, they did that. They got on a lathe and they turned. They turned a simpler baluster leg, but they turned, which is difficult. Trying to get that nice joint and everything. They did the stretchers and a lot of math going on, and by the end of the week, these guys were just famished.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Oh, I did that for a few years, and it just dawned on me. Gosh, you gotta make this a little bit easier on these guys, and so I've streamlined it quite a bit. So
Yeah,
they still turn though.
Well, that's
So,
great. That's fantastic.
yeah.
Well, cool. Well, so before we let you go, do you have any other pursuits you like to do outside of woodworking?
Oh man, I got to stay in shape. I'm like 71 years old. I've got to, I got to hike around. I got to stay to the point where I can do this work. And so far, so good. So we get outside. I burn wood. I have to split and get logs for that. And
Well, that'll
and then
keep you in
spring
shape.
rolls.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Spring rolls around. I got to get the gardens ready and get the planting, and it's a full schedule around here. When we get a chance, I live in Maine. I'm thinking, why do I leave? People come here. I need to be exploring around here too, and so that's trying to do more of that. Especially up the coast. Where you don't have a lot of crowds and where a lot of people don't go. That's my favorite places, and there's a lot of them around here. I don't have to go to Booth Bay Harbor and all that. I can keep on going, get up in my special places up along the Canadian border, up around Eastport and that beautiful area. They call it the Bold Coast. The ocean in there is just cliffs, and oh gosh, it's just wonderful. Small little towns. Just people living there and trying to eke out a living and all that kind of stuff.
And you got Lee Nielsen in your neighborhood too. So
just not far. Maybe 2 hours away.
that's not bad.
Been
That's
over
not
there.
bad.
No, I've been over there. They had a little show a year ago this past fall,
Mm-hmm.
and that was kind of neat. I don't know if they just did it. And I don't know if they're doing it anymore or not. It's just a 1 year thing, and they organized it. I don't think they did it this year. It's a lot of work, and we did that. I'm Dave Lancaster. I don't know if you know who he is. He's a friend of mine. He's
I've heard the name.
he's a turner. He got into Windsor chairs, and he called me up one day. 4th of July, as I remember, one year, and wanted me to come up and see him. And I didn't know who he was. I met him, and we're good friends. He's building chairs, and he actually in his property one year, one fall day, he put a show together. He had Andy Glenn there and myself and Lee Nielsen. Had a couple guys over there doing dovetails just around the yard. It was one of the best things I've ever done. It was just a really delightful day here in Maine.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Great time.
Yeah. Have you been to Handworks that they put on?
No, I haven't.
In Iowa.
In Iowa.
That's coming up. Yeah. If you get a chance to go to that, that's fantastic. It's
right.
It's like 100% hand tools and it's I should make an effort to get out there. It's just put it down and say I'm going. And, that's right.
And just be there. Be there. It'd be important to do. And now you said that, that's need to look into that for this year.
I think it's this coming. Always good on. Is it Labor Day weekend?
Is it now? Yeah.
It's the one in September, 1st of September.
Okay.
That's Labor Day,
Well,
right? Memorial Days and I don't know. I
Yeah.
always get them confused. Which one's which?
Yeah, Labor Day. Yeah, it sounds about right.
Yeah.
And as you said that, I got to be at Mark Adams for my other class. I'll be doing in September, right after Labor Day. I think I'll be doing a SETI class. It's going to be kind of a design class, kind of open to interpretation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, my thoughts are it's a 7-day class. We're going to be, just kind of working on more of a contemporary SETI look.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I-
interesting because there are not hardly any classes I know that do a settee.
No, I
Yeah.
did one once some years ago up in Marks. I had a small class. It was one of those years when things were kind of off. I only had like 3 guys,
Hmm.
and it was like split. I started in June. We came back in August, and they came back with their turnings and that. So I made that class kind of doable. They did their bins and carved their seat, and then they went home, did the turnings and everything. And yeah, I think we did a continuous arm set too. Yeah, as I think about it.
Nice.
So,
nice.
Yeah, it was fun. So I told Mark, I said, I just want to do something a little different, and more, kind of get a little design going.
Yep.
Maybe not everybody makes the same thing. There's no set plan. It just, the basics are there, and then kind of, go from there.
Well, cool.
Doesn't have to be real ornate or anything. It can be a simple kind of a, more modern shaker look, without bends or anything like that. But yeah, just
Right.
that's where it's kind of headed with that one.
Oh,
Yeah.
that sounds like a wonderful class. We'll make sure to put
Yeah.
links in the show notes to Mark Adams School and stuff like that. So if our
Oh,
listeners
yeah,
want to
yeah.
sign up, it's right there. And speaking of which, where can folks find you on the internet?
Well, right now, the best place Instagram, and then my Facebook, White Windsor's.
Okay.
My website, I junked it, and I'm working on the business aspect of things, and I'm just going to do a whole new website. It wasn't working. It's outdated, and I've been studying websites and what makes from other people, what they have learned, what makes it work, and so yeah, a lot of
To come. Yes. I got you.
yeah, to come. The business aspect, you got to work with it every day, and
Right.
and if you don't, it gets away from you. And the technology and everything that's out there, I'm not afraid to ask for help. I need it, and
Right.
yeah.
I'm with you there.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
with that, let's move on to our fortnightly beer choices. So I'll start us off. I have been looking at this new brewery out of Houston. I don't think it's that new, but they're out. Let's say they're out of Austin, but it's called Star Base Brewing, and all of their beers are kind of science fiction oriented. And this one is called Occupy Mars.
Yeah.
And it's a German style lager. But anyway, it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Not bad. Easy drinking.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, what about you?
I just got some H2O in my Lost Art pressed mug here.
Oh, you saw that they got new cups coming out.
I didn't know that.
Yes. They have I think it's a red cup, but it has that same logo on it.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I'll have to get.
Yeah, I think it's a little smaller. It's not that big, but
Yeah, I'll probably get 2 of them. Be like Noah's Ark.
there you go.
Gotta have 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you have anything to recommend, alcoholic or non? It doesn't matter.
Oh, you talking to me?
Yes.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I thought you said Jeff. Oh yeah.
I
yeah.
might have. I'm sorry, David.
Yeah. No. Well, here in Maine, I mean, we got a lot of microbreweries all over the place, but one I found recently. It's called Small Town. It's the most eastern point in the country, and a little town called Lebec, Maine, and in there is the Lebec Brewing Company, which I think is the smallest brewery in Maine.
Wow.
I don't know how much they put out, but me and the wife, we were up there this fall, this October, and we stopped in, and they have a tasting room and so forth, and we were the only ones there. And he introduced me to. He said, "What do you like?" I said, "Well, I tend to go for porters, dark beers." He said, "Well, try this," and Oh, it was great. I'd never seen, or, a dark as beer as it is dark as old used motor oil. It's, anyway, it's called, Bailey's First Mistake. And
Oh.
Bailey's First Mistake. Yeah. I said, well, what does that mean? And well, it supposedly has to do with a sailor got drunk and he got shipwrecked in Bailey's Cove, and I guess he lived. I don't know, not sure. But anyway, it's named after that. It's a porter. Got really nice chocolate undertones and so forth, dark as can be, and and yet smooth, and it has about like 9% alcohol content, and and for a small brewery, he's got quite a selection. There was another one there I tried. It's called Black Moon. It's a Scottish dark ale. It was pretty good too. But I tend to go for Bailey's First Mistake. And yeah, if you ever get up this way, up down east as they call it, up in that part of Maine, yeah, Lubec Brewing and
Beck Brewing.
You sold
Lubec,
me on it. I'll
LE.
have to try it.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little town, yeah. Lebuc, I think is how you spell it. Lubec, yeah. Up around Eastport, but yeah, the eastern part. Yeah, I stood there as far as I could go eastwise. I was on a little trail, and I think that was it. Any further east, and I'd fallen into the ocean, and so yeah, it's kind of neat little place. So yeah,
Well, that's great. Well,
Yeah.
let's move on to our feedback. So we got episode 588 and 589 with Glenn Rundell, another great chairmaker out of Australia. And Robert Tolnai says, really fantastic interview. It would be an amazing opportunity to attend the fair. That's a Lost Trades fair they have there every year.
yeah.
And then Benjamin Allen Furniture says, great episode, guys. Now I'm looking forward to the 5 questions episode next week, which came out yesterday as we're recording this. And Palmy Granite says, what a legend. And Scully and Son says, love this chat, mate. Looking forward to the fair. And Camber Woodworking says, what a great listen. So cool how these folks have been able to foster local creative community and turn it into an international fair. And Dick Found Chairmaker says, is it just me or does this bloke keep getting younger? I think that's because of the pictures I kept selecting for the little graphic we put together. Yeah, he kept getting younger.
That's funny.
And then Marcus Tolbert, and I'm pretty sure, Marcus, I'm mispronouncing your last name, so excuse me. But very good episode. Made my day at work fun. So we absolutely appreciate that. And if you, dear listener, would like to send us some comments, you can always reach out to us at our Instagram page, MWA_podcast, or leave us a 5-star review on the podcatcher of your choice. And that just about wraps it up for this show. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the show on the podcatcher of your choice. Just search for the Modern Woodworkers Association. And while you're there, please leave us a review. You can follow us on Instagram at MWA_podcast. And if you'd like to support the podcast, go over to patreon.com/MWA podcast. But the best thing you can do is tell a friend. Word of mouth goes a long way in sharing our discussion.